Hi, I'm Stimming and welcome to my studio in Hamburg.
The PC for me feels like an industrial standard thing. It's their ugly little boxes, and somehow I like it that way. Right now I'm running Windows 8 on it, and the core is pretty stable. I think Windows 7 was like the most stable core they created. Windows 8 is basically the same, but with a different interface. The interface, of course, is Windows typical, not thought until the very end, yeah, still sucks, but the core is stable, and that's the most important thing. It's about the inner values, not so much about the out. A couple of years ago, the combination Cubase, Windows and ARM hardware was one that went really well already. Really stable drivers, and so that's why I kept it. I was producing like a very, very lot, but never made the step to finally send it to someone. Until I found some guys here in Hamburg where Dynamic came out from. And also, it was like, people very often tell me that my sound is already pretty mature. And it must have been because of that, because I already produced like a whole lot of stuff, maybe like 80 tracks or something, which are in my folders, but they got never released. When this release came out, I already had so much confidence in myself that it wasn't, like, the release itself wasn't a big problem. The big problem, I wouldn't call it problem, but the challenge I faced was playing live. But also technically, how do I bounce stuff? How much live can I have inside of it, even if something goes wrong? Yeah, I mean, live can be pressing play and making this, or live can be creating, like really from the ground up. So that's like the two poles, and somewhere inside of it you have to place yourself. 2.5 years ago I decided, okay, I need more live in it. So right now everyone who books me has to organize a Moog Voyager for me. Yeah. So I'm playing a Moog Voyager, I'm playing the OP1, the little Swedish, hopefully everyone knows it already. And this goes on top of my finished tracks, but I bounce them in 3 buses in different parts, so I can expand some parts, or it's like pretty flexible, but I want to get much more flexible. I'm going to show you the track of mine, which is called China Tree. Came out a couple of months ago on DJ Cozy's label Pampa, on the Southern Sun EP. Southern Sun and China Tree are the 2 tracks, featuring Piper Davis. She's the singer. I have the arrangement open. Okay, so you can basically, that's the whole arrangement. Most of it is audio. Basically everything's audio. And I'm gonna talk you through every channel, every signal. Yeah, enjoy. Okay, so the idea for this track came from one very simple percussion thing I played on one of the drums I have down there. It's not that much anymore, because I found it interesting to play something simple and then build some weird thing out of it. So we had the bass drum here, and the main ingredient for the track is this percussion thing. As you can see, it's 5 channels, which all have different filter settings, and the original of this percussion line sounds like this. I recorded 3.5 minutes of just playing around.
I cut it afterwards. And if I remember right, what I did was using I have a deconstruction folder, which I call deconstruction because it's very many freeware VST plugins, which I collected during the years. And there's this one called Colorazoid. Yeah, it's a nasty little plugin. Sounds shitty, looks shitty, and sounds interesting because it's basically three pitch shifters, which all do something. Yeah, it's basically just 3 pitch shifters, but what they do is they smear in transient whatever you get in there, and somehow this catch me. So this happens very often, that I have some raw material and then I put some shitty freeware glitch plugins on it, and I very often just need one of those plugins which fits, and then the track is basically done. All I have to do is putting it into reality. So first of all, the bass drum track. Yeah, that's music. That's interesting. That's what we want to hear. There's one interesting thing about the whole channel, because as you can see, the intro, I reduced the bass drum volume at 2 dB, and there's also the main break where I have an automation, and let me quickly have a look. Which does it automate? Okay, I have this equilibrium EQ on it. There's a reduce in frequency at 137 hard. I suppose this is because of the other deep drums. Let me just switch it off. Ah yeah, there's also some lower wooden thing which I don't like. And then in the main break there is an automation which filters away the bass drum to just have it as a heartbeat kind of thing. So nothing really special, spectacular. This trick, if you reduce the bass drum at the intro, this is quite useful for adding some punch without adding volume. You just start a little bit, not as loud. Okay, so bass drum. What else? We have a shake. This must have been a real one. Also one of my shakers down there. Took one, cut it, and then I have an 8th shaker on top of it. That's 2 of it. Panned left and right. A snare. Can't remember where it's coming from, but it's all of my. I think it's a Tanzbär, MFD Tanzbär. All those, also the very simple sounds, come out of a machine of mine, either the DM1 MK3, that was right, or the Tanzbär. Also have an Electron rhythm. It's basically my my 3 drum machines. I also have a TR8 from Roland, but it's also a machine. There's a track called Add Snare. Okay, the add means it's meant to be placed on top of the snare. To make the snare sound more interesting, but it's very little detail, but it makes a difference in the whole. Then hi-hat, very short, very tiny. there, as you can hear, the snare isn't always the same. So I must have recorded those 8 bars and tweaked it in real time. Okay, then now comes the fun part basically, because one little bass sound, which must originally also come from this this tom, deep tom thing I played. It's also very heavily processed. I can't remember what I did there. But yeah, as you can hear, it's very stereo, very widespread. To just do some more interesting thing. Then there's a ride coming later on. Also Tanzbär, right from Tanzbär. There's an automation. Ah, this is another one of those little nasty plugins. Anarchy effects. What can it do? It's like, it's a convoluter, it says. To just show it on the right. So it does this artifact thing which we know from MP3s, kind of. So you can, through the depth, you can make it disappear and just flare. It's a very interesting plugin. Detailed, sure. And I used it during the break to make the ride disappear. And yeah, I also see an automation on this track I showed you before, on this channel. But it's basically just a reducement of, there's a heavy EQ at 1.5 kilohertz. Let's see how it sounds when it's off. Yeah. Okay, I must have used it to increase those dirt frequencies. And yeah. Okay, so when I recorded it, I put it through the Strymon timeline and I played around a little bit with the repeat, basically with the feedback. The reason why it's different colors, it's because I very often just play around with those things and then cut it afterwards and make it fit into the whole arrangement. The groove, as it is, works, but it's still pretty empty. So here comes the percussion thing. And what I said about the Colorozoid earlier, using the plugin, the 3 pitch shifter plugin to smear the sound was just one part of the whole idea. The other part was that I filtered the original signal 5 times through the multi-mode filter in my S1 in different settings. Denoised it, and that gave me the possibility to have the same sound in different colors, kind of Oh. That's why we have a very deep one, a very high one. Yeah, there's a bit crusher on top of it. This one is compressed by dynamite, but it's yeah. This one's compressed, but this, how do you say, this attack is a little bit too loud, so I have this sidechain track underneath them to reduce only this attack, which would fuck up my level, my overall level. So as you can see, I cut the original to have just the loud attacks left, and it's reducing it. Okay. But I only made this on one signal of those 5, because this must have been the one which caused problems. There's one channel which I called Oh Yeah. I'm sure it's the original from the ones you've heard before. There's this EQ on it to just use the upper frequency dirt. Compressor again to squeeze it, and the Predatome von Ohm. Yeah. Which gives it that amped kind of distortion. Also reduces some frequencies. Then something very important for being able to listen to a loop over a long period of time, you have to add some things every 8 or 16 bars to make it interesting again. And for this track, I choose to just add more deep rolling stuff. So it also comes from my 3.5 minute drumming track. The vocals are from Piper Davis, as I mentioned earlier. She's a singer from Canada. She reached me online through Facebook, I think, just saying that her voice sounds like a mixture of a little girl and I don't know, a heroin addict or whatever. I don't know what exactly she wrote, but somehow I kept her in mind. I kept her voice in mind. I kind of liked her. So after like 2 months, still from time to time thinking about how her voice sounds, I reached her back, and I reached back to her and said, okay, I would be interested. We do 50-50, and I have to. I'm not sure. I must have sent her something, and after 2 weeks, she got back to me with 5 different ideas. I choose 2 of them. The other one, Southern Sun, is also an idea of her. I just had her 2 times, and the other ones are effects. So let me quickly go through the effects, or I show you the dry signal.
Yellow fruit, you watch them come out.
So that's the dry signal, but of course it's EQ'd, and what I did is I cut away low frequencies. Without those, it would sound like...
Yellow fruit, you watch them come out.
It's already pretty nice, I think, but I added some effects. One is this one. So this is an effect from GRM as well. It's a very new one called Evolution. it does something to the signal which I can't explain, but I really like it. If I tweak a little bit the parameters, you might get an idea of what this is capable of. Something very interesting. Okay, and another one.
Yellow fruit, you watch them come out.
What did I do here?
Fruit, you watch them come out.
Must have.
Fruit, you come out. Fruit, you come out.
Oh, I love Reactor.
Fruit, you come out.
And something which I do very often at the very beginning of the vocals, I very often use a backwards reverb to introduce the vocal, simply because then it's not suddenly there's a vocal, but your mind already expects something, which I show it on this part. Sounds like this.
Yellow fruit, you watch them come out.
And I even have the original track in here. So this is the original. I record it, put it backwards. Very easy trick, but works pretty well.
Yellow fruit, you watch them come out. Naturally, the process goes on.
Yeah, and basically this goes for 3 minutes. Yeah, it's dance music, so we need an intro and stuff. Adding things, reducing things, and the track is called China Tree, so you need this basic hook, which is an accord. This is the Absinthe. Preset called Slow Bender. The Absinthe is a very powerful synthesizer, but something which I have basically on every software synth. I don't want to tweak it. It just goes on my nerves to tweak a virtual synthesizer. Of course, sometimes through the performing page I configure some parameters to be able to automate them, but very often I just go through the 3 million presets and find the one which I need. Anyway, the tones themselves is something which doesn't come with presets, so I played those. And on top of it, I added a MS-20 signal, which went through the Strymon timeline as well, and I just recorded it as once, tweaked the MS-20, filter open, filter close, basic stuff, nothing spectacular here. Okay, switch on the main track again. the break where everything falls apart and comes together again. To show you how I made this break, I said earlier on the MS-20 I just tweaked it in real time. So this is one of the, I think, 3 or 4 parts where the signal becomes crazy. So the MIDI file stopped, the feedback went completely up. Timing tweak. No, wait. It wasn't a timeline. I hear it right now. It's the T resonator. It's the T resonator. This one. It's stereo, has 2 filters, and as you can see, it's already a weird optic, yeah, and it also is weird when you try to tweak things, because the 2 filters react on each other according to your feedback, which can go positive or negative. It also has like a delay, how do you say, a bucket delay in it. And the delay also has some feedback which reacts on each other, so it's a very complicated machine. I used it for playing live. And the funny thing about this machine is that a really little tweak can make your signal go completely crazy immediately. So it's always like surfing on the edge of things. But maybe the other one is also coming from here. So not the timeline, it's the good old German Jomox. And basically what makes this break interesting are those 2 channels. If I switch them off, nothing happens, but with them on, to make this groove part after the main break more interesting, I looped the lowest of my, I call it shredder, of my shredder parts. I looped it much faster than before. So the original pattern it's like this, and after the break it's basically more stupid, techno-ish, but also more driving. Then I made a combination of the original pattern and the techno-ish version of it. Okay, then I see What did I do here? Something like that, in combination with, yeah. And then later on, the chords, the MS-20 and the vocal appear again. Yeah, come on. Yeah, that's the track.